Algebra class. So the next part of the application stuff we've been doing, which you'll sometimes hear me refer to as the real world problems, okay, as you can see, is going to be perimeter. Now, obviously there's going to be some pictures in this, okay, that will make some of the problems easier, but for the most part, you're going to have to make the picture yourself if you want a picture. You don't necessarily need a picture to solve these. Okay, so we're going to do 3 examples. I don't like to, do too much, but here we have the perimeter of a rectangle, okay, which is just P equals 2W plus 2L, because there's 2 widths and there's 2 lengths, okay, and then the perimeter of a basic triangle is just, A plus B plus C, we kind of talked about the last time. Doesn't really matter what these sides are, it's the first side plus second side plus third side, just adding them all up, okay. The reason you don't label 4 sides here is because 2 of them are the same and the other 2 are the same, okay. So let's get to example 1. So example 1, okay, I kind of wrote down small truncated things so you don't have to worry about writing down that much. Normally you won't have to really write down the problems, but the length is 7 centimeters longer than 3 times the width. The perimeter is 78 centimeters. Okay, if you think about it, the first equation you're given to is the formula itself. Okay, and then the second equation is going to be something that gives you, and then it also gives you the perimeter is 78. Okay, most time you'll be given what the perimeter is, and you'll need to find the sides instead. So when I look at this, the length is, so that's L equals 7 centimeters longer than, so that's kind of like more than, so it's going to be plus 7 at the end. Okay, remember the whole less than, more than backwards. And then 3 times the width, so that is just 3W. Okay, and we talked about yesterday that whenever you have something, you need to look for what variable you don't have. That's the variable you're going to find first, okay? Right now I have P equals, I have P, W, and L. I know what P equals, it's 78, okay? I know what L equals, it's 3W plus 7. So what I don't know is any W. Okay, so that's the variable that we're going to solve for first. So that's the variable that's going to be in our equation. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in for the L. Okay, so first of all we have 78 centimeters, so it's 78 equals 2W and then plus 2 times this whole thing. Okay, every time we substitute in, we need to use parentheses, whether it looks easy or not. Okay, sometimes there's going to be a negative that tricks you up. Use the parentheses. Okay, and then we solve this like we know how to solve a normal equation. Distribute, we get 78 equals 2W plus 6W plus 14. Work to solve the problem. We get 78 equals 8W plus 14. And there's a 2-step equation from here. Subtract 14. They cancel on the right. Kind of move over here. So we'll get 64 equals 8W. Divide. And we get 8 equals W. Okay, so technically it's 8 centimeters. Don't forget to label. And then from there, to figure out the length, we simply take that 8 and we plug it in for the W, okay, right here. So I have L equals 3 times that 8 plus 7, and we just do math. 3 times 8 is 24, so I get L equals 24 plus 7, so I'll have L equals 31 centimeters. Okay? Go ahead and pause it, make sure you get that down. And then we're going to move on to example 2. Example 2. Okay, now we're going to talk about a triangle. Okay, again, I wrote it down so you don't have to write down as much. But we have statements. Obviously, since we have 4 variables, we are going to need 3 equations compared to the 2 equations here. First equation is what it equals. We also have the perimeter 66 feet. From there, the first side is 4 times the third. So first side is, so we would say A equals 4 times the third, that's pretty simple, 4C. Okay, if you need to pause the video right now just to write down the problem, pause it. And then we have the second side is 6 less than the first. So B equals, again, less than, write it backwards. So we're going to have A minus the 6. And then again, the perimeter is 66 feet. We don't necessarily need to write that down. Okay, so we start plugging things in. You notice we have an A equals and we have a B equals. Okay, so what we're going to find first is C, because it's the one thing we don't know what it is yet. Okay, one thing you will notice, there's two ways to do this. Right now you have A equals 4C, but B equals some sort of A term. Okay, you can either replace the A now, okay, or you can just replace it later. I would say replace it now. So what this can turn into is just B equals, take that 4C and plug it in for the A. So really B equals 4C minus 6. Okay. From there we plug everything in. So P is 66. A we have is 4C plus B we have is 4C minus 6. And then C is just C. Okay, and then we solve it the exact same way we solved example 1. Put stuff together, start doing the math. So we get 66, 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9, so we have 9C minus 6. Two-step equation, add your 6, we get 72 equals 9C. And then we divide by 9 from there. We get 8 feet equals C. Okay? Now, once you find one, it should be a lot easier to find the other two. Okay, just real quick, like I think you guys should be able to do this. But if I plug it in, I'll get A equals 32 feet and B equals 26 feet. Okay, just plug in the C into both of these things to get the answer. Okay, we got one more example called the isosceles triangle. Pause if you need to, otherwise we're going to move on. Alright, so an isosceles triangle is telling us that 2 of the 3 sides are going to be exactly the same. Okay, you'll notice I labeled it with L and L because those are legs, those 2 legs, and the other side is called our base. Okay, sometimes you can call these things other things, but 2 legs, 1 base. You'll also notice I put little tick marks here, little dashes. Okay, what that represents is this side is equal to that side. Okay, so if you had a picture and it didn't tell you it was an isosceles triangle, but it labeled it as so, you would know that those are the same, which means this is an isosceles triangle. Same thing with these angles. Okay, these angles are base angles. Okay, and they're exactly the same because they correspond to the opposite side. So those sides are the same, the angles have to be the same. Okay, the top angle is the vertex. Okay, you need to know these things because in some of the problems you're going to have just information given to you about base angles or vertex, and you have to know which route to take. But because of this, we know exactly what to do. So instead of A plus B plus C, instead it's going to be 2L, because there's 2 of them, so 2L, similar to a rectangle, plus B. So we still have our 3 sides, because we have 2 sides here and a 3rd side there. Okay, we're going to do one example of this, but keep in mind, we could go many different ways. I could give you 1 leg length, which technically gives you 2 of them, and you have to find the base. I could give you the base, and you have to find the legs. Okay, so we'll do example number 3. So here we go, example 3, okay? Again, if you need to draw a picture, but you shouldn't need to. If it helps you, you can, but you don't need to solve the problem. So the length of a leg is 3 times the base, the perimeter is 77. Now it doesn't seem like a lot, okay, but technically you have 3 variables, which means you need 2 equations to start with in order to solve for the one variable. So I have this one, P equals, and I have the length of a leg, so L equals 3 times the base, so 3B. Okay, since I have a P equals and an L equals, that means I'm going to solve for my B first, and we just plug things in. So P is 77, okay, 2 times L, well, L is 3B, so we're going to have 2 times 3B, and then plus the other B, okay? Some people consider this one a little bit easier to do, even though it can be harder to think about. And we just do the math. So I get 77 equals 6B plus B. Combine like terms, we have 77 equals 7B. And then just your last step from there, divide by 7, and we get 11 meters is the base. And to figure out the length, you simply plug that in, which some of us wouldn't need to actually plug it in, we just do in our head. But, either way, we have L equals 3 times that 11, so the length is 33 meters. Problem solved, okay? You have a practice for this as well. It's not every problem on the worksheet is labeled on Google Classroom, as well as the weekly agenda, so make sure you're working on that and get it done. And you will have another kind of part of this that deals with the angles of the triangle rather than the sides. So that's it for today. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time.